Hey everybody, April 16th, Thursday. The market will play with your mind. And that's what it's doing to a lot of people. The market will play with your mind. Nobody said this was going to be easy. But it's all mental game. It's all mental. I've said this so many times. And I also said that if the market was a person, if it was a living thing, its job would be to fool you. And it would be very, very good at its job because that's what it does. It fools most people. And people allow themselves to be fooled. Like I see a lot of people, they trade the headlines as if they've discovered something unique that nobody else does, and this somehow gives them an edge. Remember, the headlines are created by people who know the headlines before they become headlines. And even those people, I would wager, even if they're in the markets themselves, they probably don't even make any money because they lack mental game too. But the idea that, hey, look, we got a bad print on unemployment claims, I think I'm going to sell the market. Or, hey, the banks are taking big hits on their earnings and they've had to take loss provisions, I think I'm going to sell. You know, that might work for you for a little while, but that is not, that's not a strategy, man. That's not a strategy. All right, let's talk about what's going on. Today, we had another, unemployment claims were like 5.3 million. Now, they peaked out, I think March 28th, we hit like 6.9 million. Then last week, I think it was 6.3 million or something like that. This was 5.8 million. So they peaked out. Unemployment claims have peaked out. We have states now talking about reopening their economies. They're getting together. They're strategizing on when that could happen. I think a lot of states are shooting for May 1st. Here in New York, it got pushed back to May 15th. So we're starting to see a time window now where things will at least begin to move back to somewhat normal, whatever the new normal is. Obviously, it's not going to be the normal that we knew before this all happened, but we're going to start to get a gradual reopening of the economy, which is good. Today, we should see in the daily Treasury statement the number. Yesterday, supposedly 80 million Americans received benefits. That Mnuchin said that, yesterday was Wednesday. He said that on Tuesday, that on Wednesday, 80 million were going to get their checks, their money. We'll see. Because today he said there was a glitch in sending out those funds. So we'll see what the number is. But it's probably going to be a big number. Weekly unemployment claims now, they are up 10.5 billion over last year. That ramped up very quick. I've been sending out that chart every single day. As we add to it, we're averaging about almost, 2 billion a day now. Way up. Last week we were averaging just under 1 billion a day. Now we're averaging 2 billion a day. So at least that's happening. And that still has yet to reach any peak. That's still ramping up. I know a lot of people that have not received their unemployment benefits yet. So that's still ramping up. So that's good. That's adding. The fiscal picture, as I've been telling you, that's starting to accelerate. We're up something like 236 billion over last year. We're growing at something like the spending rate is something like 8.6% year over year. That's more than a 30% acceleration from where we were last year. And last year, that was a record year. And this will be a record year too. So the things that need to happen are slowly starting to happen. Some things are still caught up in glitches or whatever, like the SBA loan program that got tapped out because of the idiots. The banks are still constrained by regulatory issues. And I talked about this, I think, in my last video, that, what is the determinant factor for a bank with respect to making loans. It's their capital. So, the banks are all maxed out on their available capital. It's not that they don't want to make these loans. They can't make these loans because it's the government's own regulations that prohibit the banks from making any more loans. And frankly, this is my personal editorial here. I think it is ridiculous to have the banks as intermediaries to distribute the government's money. I mean, that again is government capture by large corporations. I could start a whole separate YouTube channel on this stuff, believe me, because I am like up to here when I'm seeing this stuff. It is so infuriating. It is so maddening. It is unbelievable. It's like a couple of weeks ago when I said, hey, the banks weren't happy with these SBA loans because the interest rate was too low. The government was initially charging 0.5% interest, and the bank said, no, we want to double that to 1%. And you might think, well, 1% is still low, but really, I mean, interest rates are basically zero right now. And the bank's dictating, what the interest rate ought to be, when in essence what's happening here, or what is being attempted, is that the government is providing funds to Americans. And the banks are intermediaries and they dictate the whole thing. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. But, that's the system we have. It is government capture by these large organizations or by billionaires or whatever. Interesting thing here, the NASDAQ 100 hit a new all-time record high. And I guess most of that is Amazon in there. Amazon is just blowing through the roof because of all the orders and business they are getting as a result of people being shut in and businesses being shut in. Jeff Bezos added $24 billion to his net worth, and there's stories all over the internet now about how he is not giving paid sick leave to his employees, even though his wealth just increased by $24 billion. Unbelievable. I want to mention one thing about oil. Yesterday in the EIA Weekly Petroleum Status Report, and if you want, I do a full entire breakdown on that and analysis every week on Wednesday. And yeah, we had that shocking increase of 19 million barrels in crude inventories. But really, there were some positive things in that report, namely a record surge in product exports, refined product exports, and also a very strong rebound in crude oil exports. Now, that speaks to demand. That's demand, external demand, probably from China. It's an indication of the rebound that's happening now in China's economy. So, record level of refined product exports and a very strong rebound in crude oil exports. So, like I said in my last video, I'm a buyer down here of oil. I'll go on record. I am a buyer of oil down here. All right, everybody, I wasn't able to do a video yesterday. Go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com. Sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. I'll try to do another video later today. See everybody. Bye.